There's nothing better than waking up on a beautiful Saturday morning to the smell of a fresh cinnamon roll just waiting on you. Cinnamon rolls in my house were always a big thing on the weekends. My grandmother would bake them, and I would wake up to them and be starving by the time I got to the kitchen. So I have just the recipe to fit your needs. And this recipe doesn't require the use of yeast, so your prep time is cut down a lot. Let's start with the filling. In a bowl with 1 packed cup of dark brown sugar, we're going to add 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 4 tablespoons or half a stick of partially melted butter. You don't want to melt the butter completely because the filling will become way too thin. Now, just mix these together until it becomes a creamy consistency. I used a fork, but you can use a whisk or whatever else you want. Set aside for now and let's start on the dough. That's a secret ingredient. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I wasn't going to give it away, but preheat your oven to 400, and then in a medium bowl or large bowl, combine 2 cups of flour with 2 tablespoons of sugar, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, I used a fork, but you can use a whisk or you can sift them together if you want to be quicker about it. When all of these ingredients are together well, add another 4 tablespoons of butter and cut into these. You can use a pastry blender, but why not have fun and just go all hands in? Your dough should start to form a crumbly mixture. Now let's add a cup of milk and stir. Your dough may become thin while mixing, and if this is the case, just add flour half a cup at a time and it'll thicken. Your dough should be to the point where it begins to pull away. Now we're going to cover our working station in flour. Make sure it's a clean workstation. And we're going to turn the dough onto the floured surface and knead until smooth. It takes about 8 minutes. Kneading dough is a great stress reliever, by the way. To knead the dough, use the heel of your hand and push the dough outwards away from you, and then turn counterclockwise, fold it over, and repeat the same process, always pushing away from you. Now we're going to roll this into a 1/2 inch to a 1 inch thick rectangle. I rolled mine between 2 sheets of wax paper just because it was less messy. And mine's not coming out to be a perfect rectangle. But who says we're perfect? Next, we're going to take half of the filling and spread it onto our dough. I just started with the fork because it was already in the bowl. I almost feel like a professional. Now this next part can be a little bit tricky. Starting with the long edge of your dough, you're going to roll it up. Leave a good 1 to 2 inch edge at the other long edge of your dough, so that way you can seal the dough with some water. Now you need to spread the remaining mixture on the bottom of a 9x9 baking dish. This makes an extra little crunchiness, if that's a word. And you can cut your cinnamon rolls into whatever size thickness you wish. They can be thick, they can be thin, however you want. The way I cut mine gave me 10 rolls. Now we're going to place into the oven. Ooh, look at the shaky camera. Good job. And those are going to bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Now let's make our icing while we're waiting. To make the icing, you just need powdered sugar. A good 2 cups will do. Half of an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. And half a stick of butter. And this time, you're going to use a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of milk. Because this icing is sweet, it can be made to taste. So if you want to use less powdered sugar, use less. If you want to use more, use more. It's completely up to you. I'm just gonna blend and mix these together. The same thing with the dough. If your icing is too thin, add some powdered sugar. It'll thicken it right up. Pour it into some sort of container with a spout. Makes it easiest to do this next step. Can't waste any of this. It's too good. When your cinnamon buns have cooled a little bit, take your icing and pour it over them. Your cinnamon rolls shouldn't be completely cold, but you don't want them to be so hot that the icing melts as soon as it touches them. And it doesn't have to be fancy the way this looks. Somebody got into my batch, as you can tell. There's one missing. Spread the icing around. Another trick with these is you can make the dough the night before, cut it up, set it in the refrigerator, it'll harden a little bit, and the next morning, take it out, heat it up, and you're good to go. And doesn't that look tasty? Drizzle with a little bit of icing, because everyone needs sugar on the weekends. And you're all set. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what other recipes you'd like for me to make. Also, watch for more videos from my show, courtesy of JMR. Now I'm off to enjoy the rest of these cinnamon rolls because they look too good to pass up. Thanks again for watching.